Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we have a leak of that Logitech cloud gaming handheld, and could we be seeing a revival of SNK versus Capcom? We have those topics and more to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so we can keep you up to date with gaming news. And today is the last day you can enter in to win the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition contents, and you can find the link to that in the description below. Now let's get started. First, if we go back about a month, we had an announcement coming from Logitech G and Tencent that they were going to be making a dedicated handheld. This handheld was supposed to be designed for cloud gaming. Well, yesterday we had information about that leak out, and this is coming from a tweet from Evan here showing the Logitech G gaming handheld, and all the images were DMCA'd, which pretty much confirms that this is legit. But of course, because the internet is forever, we had the article picked up by The Verge that had the images here. So you can see all the icons here on the screen. You have Google Play, and then you have Xbox Cloud Gaming and Nvidia's GeForce Now service, and then we have Steam, Chrome, YouTube. Now the fact that this has Google Play on it tells us that this is an Android-based operating system, which should mean you would be able to run any Android games on there, which there are a lot of old 8-bit, 16-bit emulators, probably even PlayStation emulators on the Google Play Store. Now it looks at the bottom of this device there appears to be maybe a headphone jack and a charging port, which I would guess is USB-C. And then they have a back view, and you can tell more about the top from here. It looks like there's probably an SD card slot on the left side there. And then to the far right, we have the up and down volume buttons. And then just to the left of that, I've seen people guess at that being either a power or mute slider type button. And then the front view, we have the Windows Vista wallpaper here for the background. Of course, I'm joking, but that's really what it looks like. And then we have our normal X, Y, A, B buttons, the D-pad, the analog sticks, and the 2 bumper and 2 triggers on the top edges. But then I want to point out that they've got a home button in the bottom right. You've got the hamburger button, which is that 3 lines button in the upper right corner. And that's usually used to bring up like an in-game menu. And on the left side, you have the ellipsis, which is usually used to bring up settings. Now there's also this strange yellow button in the bottom left that has the Logitech logo on it. And I'm guessing that may be a dedicated button for some type of app they have. Now Logitech said that this was going to be launching later this year, and we don't have any official specs yet, although there's been some speculation about it. And really those specs are going to determine how much this thing's going to cost. And it's hard to judge the size of it, but from the picture that had the hands holding it, it could be anywhere between a Switch size or maybe the Switch Lite. But let me know what you think. Does this look interesting to you? I'm pretty much going to wait until I see how much it costs before I even consider picking one up. Next, we have our games with gold for the month of September. And if you remember, this is the last month for getting the Xbox 360 games, and I guess they decided to go out with a bang this month, at least for the 360. So first we have Gods Will Fall, which is available September 1st through the 30th, and this scored a 70 Metacritic. Then we have Double Kick Heroes, available from September 16th to October 15th, and this scored a 72 Metacritic. And then from the OG Xbox, we have Thrillville, which scored a 73 Metacritic, and it's going to be available September 1st through the 15th. And then the bang they decided to go out on for the 360, we have Portal 2, and this is available September 16th through the 30th, and this scored a 95 Metacritic. It's arguably one of the best games on the 360, so you definitely want to pick that up when it comes out on the 16th. And I have to wonder what Microsoft will do going forward. Are we just going to see 2 Xbox One or Xbox Series games each month? Could they still throw in an OG Xbox game every now and then? Or could we end up seeing maybe 3 or 4 Xbox One or Xbox Series games? I guess we'll probably have to wait until October to find out. And then finally, could we be seeing a reviving of SNK versus Capcom? We have a headline here from VGC. Both sides are interested in reviving SNK versus Capcom, says producer. So some of this stems from EVO 2022, where SNK released some collaborative posters featuring fighters from the classic series SNK vs. Capcom. Now, there hasn't been a new entry in this fighting series for nearly 20 years. There was a card game on the DS, but that doesn't count since it's not a fighting game. But speaking to VGC, Oda, the producer and designer who has headed SNK's recent fighting game revival, suggested that a new entry in the crossover series could be possible. He was asked by VGC if he had any interest in creating a new SNK vs. Capcom game, and he responded that he definitely was, and he thought that was something that both sides were interested in. We have his quote here: "Especially after we saw the reaction to the EVO posters, it helped us reconfirm that this is probably one of the most wanted things from the fighting game community across the entire world." And then when he was asked if they had any specific plans for this, he said, "We haven't really talked in detail with anybody at Capcom about it. It might have come up as a vague comment." And then he goes on to talk about the recent crossovers they've done with different characters like Akuma and Terry again in Smash Brothers. But he continues on to say, "But recently we haven't actually done anything with Capcom, even on character collaboration stuff. So that poster, in our sense, was the first step towards maybe something like that happening in the future." Now, it's unfortunate that Oda said that there was no serious conversations about creating a new SNK vs. Capcom game. So I would imagine if that project ever gets greenlit, it could be a couple of years before it's finished. But let me know what you think in the comments. Were you a big fan of the SNK vs. Capcom series? I personally liked it, although I'd also love to see the Tonatsu vs. Capcom come back as well. And that's all we have for today. Did anything we cover catch your attention? What are your impressions so far of that Logitech G gaming handheld? And do you think we might see more Xbox One or Xbox Series games come to Games with Gold, or will we just get 2 from now on out? Drop a comment about those topics or anything else we covered today. I want to thank you for watching, and be good.